A bevy of breaking news tonight. 2 people killed in a shooting case, an armored truck robbery arrest, and this, a fire investigation. We begin with several breaking news stories tonight. Right now, Sky 12 over the scene of a fire on Eagle Ridge. This is on the city's west side, not too far from Callahan and Ingram Road. To give you an idea, firefighters just now confirming a home covered in flames, totally engulfed earlier tonight. They say that fire is still active, though we're not seeing any flames necessarily from this picture. No reports of any injuries, but we're told there are some missing pets. We'll stay on top of this one. Also breaking tonight, San Antonio police on the scene of a reported murder-suicide. The Night Team's Patty Santos joins us from the scene on Burleson Street, just east of downtown. Patty.
Yeah, Steve, tonight, police tell us 2 teenage children witnessed the death of their parents. And as you can imagine, this has to be heartbreaking for this family. Police say they were called by one of those teenagers, one of those children, to this home on Burleson and Pine. They told police that their parents had been arguing and that the 43-year-old man shot his 43-year-old wife multiple times before turning the gun on himself. Right now, police are waiting on a warrant to enter the home and begin their investigation. We can also tell you that family has arrived here to the scene to support these children. We will also want to tell you that September is Suicide Prevention Month. And if you are having a crisis or if you know someone who needs help, 988 is a national crisis and suicide hotline. Steve.
Thank you, Patty. Have to feel for those children and family tonight. More breaking news as well. This guy, San Antonio police making an arrest in a $300,000 robbery. The suspect, 21-year-old Lawrence Eric Taylor, walked in front of our camera less than an hour ago. Police say he's one of 2 suspects accused of robbing an armored truck. It happened on August 25th off FM 78. Officers say they got away with $300,000. They traced the suspect's vehicle back to Taylor. They're still looking for the man he was allegedly with that day. And right now, police need your help in finding this 14-year-old. It's a desperate search tonight. Angelina Lizarraga was last seen near Hunt Lane and Ingram Road on the city's west side. If you know anything about where she may be, you're asked to call SAPD's Missing Persons Unit. That number on your screen right now, 210-207-7660. Nearly 48 hours after it began, a standoff apparently ending in kind of an odd way. It's a story we first brought you as breaking news on Tuesday night. The Night Team's Patty Santos spoke with frustrated neighbors who say the SWAT team just packed up and left the barricaded suspect inside.
I'm scared. We're terrified.
As the last SWAT truck pulled out of Diamondback Trail near South Cross Ranch, fear crept in.
My kids are in danger. They don't care. Nobody cares.
Neighbors afraid for their safety were furious to see police and SWAT drive away from the standoff and a man they called dangerous just 2 days earlier.
It is a dangerous situation, correct, but he is contained in his home right now.
The neighbors we spoke with say they're exhausted from dealing with the unpredictable behavior by the armed suspect. Police confirm they've had run-ins with the man before. People living here want it to stop.
There were 13 police reports in 2021 alone.
I have 7 or 8 police reports just in 1 week.
They also question the passive tactics of law enforcement.
Come out with your hands up. Nothing in your hand.
Seen in another recent standoff where SWAT teams wait out the suspect and call him names.
Act like a 42-year-old man would, with nothing in your hands.
For 2 solid days, for 48 hours, just nothing but insults to him.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Now, just after Patty left the area, neighbors called her and told her police went back and they actually arrested the man. We've emailed SAPD several times for an explanation about all this. They would only say, quote, the result was peaceful, end quote. They expect to release more information tomorrow.
They didn't tell us where we were, but they left us here, and that's it.
That's a migrant from Venezuela sharing what they experienced in our nation's capital this morning. It comes after Texas Governor Greg Abbott intentionally sent 2 buses with more than 100 migrants to Vice President Kamala Harris's residence at the U.S. Naval Observatory. Just yesterday, 50 migrants were flown to the resort island of Martha's Vineyard. And tonight, we've learned flights to that vacation hotspot began from right here in San Antonio. We spoke with the airport director on Martha's Vineyard. He says 2 flights started their journey from Military City, USA, flew to Florida, then split up. One stopped in North Carolina, the other South Carolina, before arriving at their final destination. The Night Team's John Paul Barajas spent the day trying to find out how Texas and how San Antonio played a role in all this.
Many asylum seekers' American dreams travel right here through San Antonio. It's no different for this Venezuelan man who has hopes of making it to Miami to better his life.
No hay que sufrir, pasar por trabajo, todos los días pensar cómo hacer para luchar, para pasar al otro lado. Cada día es una lucha.
Asylum seekers made headlines again this week when 50 migrants landed in Martha's Vineyard unannounced. We know 2 flights left Kelly Field here in San Antonio Wednesday morning around 8 o'clock, but we don't know how many people were on board. We asked the FAA for the flight manifest for each leg of the trip. The FAA directed us to the airline operating those flights, Ultimate Jet Charter. Between phone calls and emails to 4 executives, we have yet to hear back. Florida's governor took credit for the flights, but it's not clear why the flights took off from Texas. Meanwhile, reports from the White House as well as state representatives in Massachusetts suggest migrants were lied to and lured onto those flights.
Immigrants who were told that they would be greeted here with a place to stay and with jobs.
There's a legal way of doing this. For managing migrants, Republican governors interfering in that process and using migrants as political pawns is shameful, is reckless, and just plain wrong.
We asked the city of San Antonio if any migrants here are on board those flights to Martha's Vineyard. Its statement says, in part, the city of San Antonio is not aware or involved with reported flights. We believe migrants seeking asylum should be treated with kindness and respect. As for those seeking assistance at the Migrant Resource Center, they had mixed opinions when we asked if they'd take the free flight.
Sí, claro.
¿Por qué?
Porque es la mejor vía. Nosotros no tenemos dinero, no tenemos alguien que nos ayude.
Another man disagreed, calling it a political show.
Sí, se usa a las personas por la necesidad que tienen. Por eso que los usan. Te voy a regalar un vuelo, te voy a llevar a tal parte. Para hacerle campaña, eso usa una persona. No de corazón se lo está dando.
John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
Now imagine if it was your house. It's been more than a month and counting since they had running water, and now the water provider in Derby is getting back to us on this issue, but residents may not like the answer. The provider, Dario Gala, now says he has everything he needs except one part that connects the pump to the motor in that small town. The pump will have to be placed down lower since the drought dropped water levels at a well. Gala says supply chain issues are delaying that part, but once it arrives, he expects the problem would be fixed in 2 days. Until that happens, the community is still leaning on donations of bottled water tonight. And speaking of water, there are water issues to tell you about elsewhere as well. The city of Lytle is repairing a water line tonight. They began work about an hour ago, so water pressure in that area low. Again, we're talking about Lytle. Crews hope to have the system back up and running in the morning. The city of San Antonio now has a new budget, $3.4 billion. Will include more money for police, affordable housing, pay raises for city employees. The budget also includes a decision on those CPS Energy rebates. Based on the bill size, the average customer could see about $29 back on their November or December bills. That credit would be larger for businesses.
It belongs to the people of the city.
Money going to Microsoft, Home Depot, McDonald's. I mean, these people don't need any help or money.
Now, there was a motion to try and delay the proposal on CPS Energy rebates. A vote on that matter ended actually in a tie after District 7 Councilwoman Ana Sandoval abstained. She didn't vote, so those rebates remained as part of the budget. When asked why she decided not to vote on delaying or moving ahead on those rebates, she says, quote, because I didn't support either one. Just talking about those ideas. There is no doubt that San Antonio knows how to throw a party. The history behind tonight's celebration at Market Square. A San Antonio Mainstay getting a new home and a new name. Why the nonprofit at the Woodlawn Theater plans to make the change. And they passed their health inspections, but not without some problems. The violations found near food set to be served at several San Antonio restaurants. We're going to go behind the kitchen door to check out their scores. It's next on the Nightbeat. 4 restaurants with scores in the 80s had plenty of violations to correct after recent visits from health inspectors. From a meat grinder covered in leftover meats to employees touching food with dirty hands. The Night Team's Tim Gerber reveals what's hiding behind the kitchen door.
First up, Taqueria Los Dos Laredos in the 400 block of South New Braunfels on the east side earned an 80. Dirty pots, pans, and other utensils needed to be re-washed, while spice containers were dirty on the inside and outside. Shelves, handles, and the insides of coolers all needed to be cleaned. So did the floors and ceiling. All expired food handler certificates needed to be renewed. Urban Pickle, located in this office tower in the 1700 block of Northeast Loop 410, got an 81. Their cold hold unit wasn't cold enough. The inside of the ice machine was dirty, and the can opener was full of grime and dirt. An employee was seen cracking an egg while using gloves and then touching ready-to-eat foods without changing gloves or washing their hands. Another employee was caught touching ready-to-eat food with bare hands and no hand washing. Medicine belonging to a worker was also found on a rack right above ready-to-eat food. Las Conchas, Torteria, and Panaderia in the 1100 block of South General McMullen comes in with an 83. They were cited for keeping the front and back doors propped open, allowing insects to get inside. Nymph roaches were found in a restroom and office area. Ants were also a problem. A reinspection was ordered. Thrifty Mart in the 6700 block of South Zarzamora got an 85. Unpackaged meat in the freezer was touching the wire rack and other meats. More meat was found stored on the floor. A meat grinder and slicer had leftover meat and food debris stuck to them. The inspector didn't see anyone wash their hands during this inspection. There were also several flies in the kitchen, and a door handle was soiled with residue. That's what's behind the kitchen door. Tim Gerber, KSAT 12 News.
That restaurant apparently has the leftover meats. We're also tracking businesses that have better scores. Just scan this QR code with your phone and it will take you to a new mapping tool. We are showing all the scores for local food businesses. The reports go back 6 months and they are frequently updated. And this weekend, Woodlawn Theater officials will host a gala to toast the last decade and raise that curtain of anticipation and reveal the theater's new name. Back in July, we told you Woodlawn Theater moving into the old Bijou Theater inside Wonderland of the Americas Mall. Well, Saturday, the 10-year anniversary gala will be held at the Brick at Blue Star. Our own Myra Arthur will serve as MC. The nonprofit's executive director says the new location will have a new name to make sure the Woodlawn Theater continues to exist in the same location where it was originally built.
The Woodlawn Theater has had a historic career for the past 77 years, and we want to really honor the building by making sure the name Woodlawn Theater stays here for whatever new tenant comes into the space.
The 2022 season will finish out at the current location. They are hoping to open the 2023 season at Wonderland in early spring.
¡Viva México! ¡Viva! ¡Viva México! ¡Viva!
Hispanic Heritage Month officially kicking off today. Tonight, a celebration in Market Square marking a battle cry in Mexico's independence. It's known as El Grito de Dolores. Tomorrow, the official day of celebration for Mexico's Independence Day. Hispanic Heritage Month, a chance to learn and celebrate multiple Latin American countries and their cultures. Many of their Independence Days fall in this special month that runs from today, September 15th, through October 15th. And speaking of Market Square, I believe that's where we have our live cam tonight. Cleared out, pretty quiet, but I always love the lights and the paper mache, El Grito. There you see the celebration that took place tonight.
That was a good atmosphere there.
Yeah, always.
Always. Good atmosphere. And, you know, the weather, if you're outside this morning, you noticed maybe an unusual chill in the air that we haven't felt in a long time. Well, it was the coolest morning since May 26th. We made it down to 67 degrees. However, it's not going to last. Warmer mornings are ahead of us starting tomorrow. Back above average, actually, with higher humidity. And rain chances pretty slim despite rising mugginess. And temperatures actually above average. So let's talk about it all, starting with some great news. This is the drought monitor from 4 weeks ago. Okay, notice the dark colors in the middle. all around San Antonio. Exceptional and extreme drought. But let's fast forward to today. The new drought monitor is in, and obviously big improvements over the last 4 to 5 weeks. Now, there wasn't a huge change just compared to last week, and that's why I like to compare several weeks stretch, because usually it takes a long time to pull out a drought. So I like to look back at, say, 4 or 5 weeks ago. But we have obviously made some good improvements, but we still need to make more improvements in our drought situation. Across the state, now we're at 59% of Texas in drought, which is a significant improvement over the past month and a half or so. And when you look at the two worst categories, exceptional and extreme, they're down 26% and 28% respectively. It's good to see there. Today, a few showers closer to the Gulf coastline, not a big deal. They're just very brief, splash and dash, and we'll see a few more of those in the afternoons ahead. We did have a few localized severe thunderstorms in parts of the Panhandle, near Lubbock, near Amarillo as well. But the big picture shows upper level high, Big Blue H, moving away from us. It's moving eastward over the eastern third of the country. However, it's going to be replaced by a new one that's going to settle in and actually strengthen a little bit. This new one's over Mexico right now, northern Mexico. It's going to slide into place this weekend, and then it's just not going to budge. It's going to stay there and just sit overhead and deflect all disturbances and any rainfall activity all around us. This is like what we have in the summertime. This is like what we saw most of the summer. Big Blue H, upper level high overhead. And it's not only going to keep us generally dry, but it's going to press down on us a little bit as well and keep our temperatures above average. 100, I don't think so, but mid-90s, yeah. 10% chance tomorrow and Saturday for rain, then 0% basically Sunday all the way through next week. So here's a look at the tropics. We still have Tropical Storm Fiona. Max sustained winds at 60 miles per hour. That hasn't changed over the past couple of updates. Headed westward into the northern Caribbean, maybe brushing or making landfall in Puerto Rico, then Dominican Republic, and turning northward toward the Bahamas. Spaghetti plots are pretty tightly packed over the next few days, of course, as is common. But then you get farther out in time and they spread out a little bit more around the Bahamas or even east of there. Something to watch for the eastern seaboard, but right now, not necessarily a direct threat. So 92, our high today after that crisp morning of 67. You know it's been a long summer and the hottest summer on record here in San Antonio when we're calling 67 so crisp and refreshing. But that's where we were today, which is below the average low of 70. 81 right now. Dew point's already up to 70. That humidity is up there. And remember, that temperature doesn't drop below the dew point at night. So already it's going to be warmer, and I think we'll be in the low 70s tomorrow morning. Right now, 75 Carrizo Springs, 81 Pleasanton and New Braunfels. Right around 80 degrees, really. 78 Bulverde, 79 in Hondo, and 82 Port SA. Tomorrow morning, 73 degrees for most of us, even some upper 60s in the hill country. Then by the afternoon, we're talking low 90s, about 93 degrees in town here. And some thicker clouds in the morning, giving way to a lot of sunshine, southeasterly breeze at only 5 to 10. Looking dry and, again, above average. The average high right now is 90 degrees, but we're going to be in the mid-90s with a lot of sunshine.
I want that dew point humidity to go away, though, Adam.
Well, usually we have our first cold front in late September, but it's just not in the works yet.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. It is Thursday, not Friday, but there's still a lot of big games that take place on Thursday night.
And we're starting week 4 already, and we have our huge game tonight between Brennan and Tav. When we come back, as big game coverage to get you ready for week 4 of the high school football season, and a UTSA hype video that's getting some backlash coming up. The Tad Raiders are the number 4 ranked team, I should say, in 12's top 12, trying to pull out the upset tonight against number 2 Brennan out at Ferris Stadium to kick off week 4. Big game coverage, no score late first quarter. Brennan with the ball on Taft's 6-yard line. Running back Avron Carter takes a handoff, runs up the middle, shedding tacklers, bounces off defenders, spinning his way in for the first score of the game. 7-0 Bears go on into the second quarter, and let's check the final from Ferris. 54-13 Brennan. The Lanier Vokes in a District 14 5A Division II showdown. The Edison Golden Bears at Alamo Stadium. Edison down 10-7 when we show up at the rock pile. The Golden Bears on the near goal line. Roger Lopez pushing ahead on the quarterback keeper to give the Golden Bears a 14-10 lead. But on the ensuing kickoff, Marquise Dixon finds the lane. He's taken it all the way back. 96-yard kick return to put the Vokes back on top. 16-14, but Edison gets a win, 20-16.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
When the Dallas Cowboys host the Cincinnati Bengals this Sunday, Cooper Rush will make only his second start at quarterback for the Cowboys due to an injury to starter Dak Prescott. His first was last October when Dak was down against the Minnesota Vikings, and Rush led the Cowboys to victory by throwing for 325 yards and 2 touchdowns and a last-second drive for the 20-16 win. But that came at a little different time when the Cowboys were 5-1 on a 5-game win streak following the season-opening loss to Tampa Bay. But this year's different. The Cowboys are also coming off a season-opening loss to the Buccaneers, but without a single touchdown in sight and the 19-3 loss. Now it'll be up to Rush to jumpstart the Cowboys' offense with Dak down for at least the next week as well after having surgery on his throwing hand to repair a fracture below his right thumb.
It was a big moment to be able to get out there and, live action. I'll draw on that. I'll draw on the other night, getting those snaps and all our practice reps. And preseason games do matter. At least you're out there in game situations, running the show. So it's not like it's totally something new, but I'm looking forward to it.
All right, kickoff on Sunday is set for 3:25 p.m. and KSAT 12 Sports will be there. The biggest game of the season, you could argue the biggest game in the school's football history, will take place this Saturday when the UTSA Roadrunners travel to Austin to meet up with the Texas Longhorns for the very first time. Now, as we get closer to game day, the odds against the Roadrunners have improved. They have gone from 13.5-point underdogs to 10.5 before kickoff on Saturday night. Now, one of the big improvements of Roadrunners head coach Jeff Traylor has noticed on the Texas Longhorns has been their offensive and their defensive lines. Does that raise the hype level for the challenge for the Roadrunners O-line?
I'm gonna be honest. Any team we go against, I approach them the same way. I'll approach them as I approach Houston, as I approach the Army. Especially as a center, you got to be prepared. But luckily, we have veteran O-linemen like KD and T. Haynes that are just gonna be there to keep a calm head. Just like I think that's what we need. Just keep a calm head.
All right, kickoff at Austin this Saturday night between the Roadrunners and the Longhorns, set for 7 p.m. and KSAT 12 Sports will be there as well. Social media reaction is blowing up after UTSA football released this hype video for their first ever meeting with the University of Texas. Pretty bold move when you consider the video is shot in Austin and not just at the state capitol, but on the 40 acres itself. Some of the reaction after this was posted included from Horn Support Group. We were worried about focus post-Bama. This solved the problem for Sark. Thanks. Probably wouldn't have gone this route personally, said one person. And from another, as a UT grad, I have to say this is quality trolling. Roadrunners have done this for other opponents, just not one, against one of the largest fan bases in the country, even though Jeff Traylor was a former assistant coach at UT. Does Becky Hammond take her first title as a new head coach? Next. High school water polo tonight at Southwest ISD Aquatic Center. Southwest Legacy taking on John Jay. Titans start strong in the first period. Yvette Gonzalez finds some space in front of the net. Goes far post for the opening goal. 1-0 Southwest Legacy. A few minutes later, Maddie Castillo finds Valentina Porras on the other side of the net. She fires a shot past the keeper. Titans win this one 12-2. Boys take the water next. Southwest taking on Stevens. This one's back and forth. Battle in the first half.Quick lesson for the defense. Falcons goalie Logan Cornelius makes the save, then unloads a shot across the pool into a wide open net. How about that? Stevens leads 4-3. Dragons answer back. Bryson corrals a loose ball, fires it far side for the game-tying goal, but the Falcons win this one 11-9. Game 3 of the WNBA Finals. The Las Vegas Aces, coached by Becky Hammond, can sweep the series tonight, or will the Connecticut Sun rise to the occasion and force a Game 4? Game tied at 17, 3:40 to play in the first quarter. Suns get red hot here, finishing the quarter on a 17-2 run. It was 35-19 Connecticut after one. A comeback wasn't in the cards for the Aces tonight, with the Suns night this evening. 6 players in double figures, and as a team shooting over 53% from three-point range, outscoring the Aces 28-7 to the 4. Connecticut takes Game 3, 105-76. Game 4 will be this Sunday. Another chance to win on the road where the wins are much sweeter.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they can do it.
Go Aces.
You got it.
Yeah. Thanks, Greg. We'll be right back. All right, certainly not too soon. If you're getting ready for the Halloween season, here's something to consider. You can watch horror movies in a haunted house setting in San Antonio. The Terror High Film Festival. It's going to be happening at Rolling Oaks Mall. The haunted house, 12,000 square feet. There'll also be rooms for selfies, photos, and short horror films. I'm in. See you tomorrow. Have a great night.